The day I decided to change and never looked back. There are days that seem ordinary at first, but deep down they hold the power to change everything. Mine was a quiet Wednesday morning. The kind of morning where the world feels still, yet something inside you begins to stir, whispering that life can't go on the same way anymore. That was the day I decided to change, and I never looked back. The alarm buzzed, but I didn't move. My eyes were open, staring blankly at the ceiling. The room was filled with that heavy silence that only comes after too many sleepless nights. My phone lit up beside me. Messages, reminders, notifications, but none of them mattered. For months I had been pretending. Smiling when I had to, laughing when it was expected, keeping up the appearance of someone who was okay. But deep down I was exhausted, lost, empty. And that morning, something in me broke. I sat up, ran my hands over my face, and whispered softly, "I can't keep living like this." The words hung in the air, small, quiet, but real. And in that moment, something shifted. That was the beginning, the moment I decided that enough was enough. I dragged myself to the bathroom. The mirror reflected someone I barely recognized, tired eyes, fading energy, a version of me I didn't want to see. I leaned closer and whispered, "You deserve better." It felt strange saying it, uncomfortable, almost like a lie. But for once, I didn't look away. I stayed there, staring at my own reflection until tears filled my eyes. I saw someone who had been through a lot. Someone who had made mistakes, fallen short, and lost hope, but who was still standing. That was the first time in a long while that I didn't see a failure in the mirror. I saw potential. I saw life. That was the first spark of change. The world outside felt different that day. Not because it had changed, but because I had. The noise was still there, people rushing, horns blaring, conversations blending into chaos. But I was quieter inside. At work, I didn't talk much. I just observed. I noticed how people complained, compared, and judged, and how easily I used to join them. But that day, I didn't. Instead, I took a deep breath, smiled genuinely, and told myself, just start here. One small decision at a time. That was how it began, but change isn't a straight path. That night, the past came back, sharp, vivid, uninvited. The memories of everything I'd done wrong, the moments I wished I could erase, the people I'd hurt, the things I'd lost. It all came flooding in, and for a while I just lay there in the dark, letting it hurt. Then, with a shaky voice, I whispered, "I forgive you." And I meant it. Forgiveness didn't erase what happened, but it loosened its hold on me. It gave me room to breathe. Room to start again. The next morning I woke before the alarm. The sky outside was pale gold, the kind of sunrise that feels like a fresh start. I made my bed. It sounds small, but that single act felt like a victory, a quiet way of saying, I'm taking my life back. Then I grabbed a notebook and wrote 3 simple things. Speak kindly to yourself. Move your body every day. Be grateful for something, anything. It wasn't a grand plan, just 3 promises. But they became the foundation for everything that followed. Days turned into weeks. Slowly, I began to feel lighter. I stopped waiting for motivation. I created discipline. I stopped chasing people who didn't care. I started caring for myself. It wasn't easy. Some days I wanted to quit. Some days I cried again. But each morning I reminded myself why I started. I learned that change doesn't mean being perfect. It means refusing to give up on yourself. And in time, I began to feel something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. People began to notice. They'd ask, "You seem different. What happened?" And I'd smile and say, "I just decided to show up for myself." Then came the setback. I poured my heart into something that mattered deeply to me, and it failed. Completely. The old me would have seen that as proof that I wasn't good enough. But this time I didn't. I let myself cry. I let myself feel it. Then I wiped my tears and whispered, "I can't go back." And I didn't. Because change isn't about avoiding pain. It's about walking through it and coming out stronger on the other side. Months later, I woke up one morning and realized something incredible. I wasn't surviving anymore. I was living. The chaos inside me had quieted. My heart felt lighter. My laughter was real. I no longer needed validation to feel worthy. I had found peace within myself. I wasn't who I used to be, and I never wanted to be again. Now, whenever I meet someone who feels lost, I see a reflection of who I once was. I don't tell them to just be positive. I tell them the truth, that change is messy, uncomfortable, and slow, but it's worth it. Because the moment you truly decide to change, everything begins to shift. The universe meets you halfway. Doors open, light returns, and one day, you'll wake up and realize you're proud of who you've become. Today, when I look in the mirror, I see someone I'm proud of. Someone who fell, broke, cried, but stood up again. Someone who finally understands that healing isn't about forgetting the past, but learning to live peacefully with it. So if you're listening to this right now, and you feel tired or lost, remember, you don't need a perfect plan. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need one small moment of courage, one decision to say, enough, I'm ready to change. And when you make that choice and truly make it, everything begins to shift. You'll stumble. You'll fall. But one day you'll wake up, look in the mirror, and smile. Because you'll finally see the person you were meant to be all along. That was the day I decided to change. And I never looked back.